All right, I'm out of the 49ers locker room here at SoFi Stadium. I'll say that was a 2018-esque loss for San Francisco. By that I mean before they got good under Kyle Shanahan, that was 2019. In 2018, they blew so many games. Now the difference is that today they had a great quarterback. How you blow that game, despite the performance that you got from Brock Purdy, despite the performance you got from Jennings, 11 catches, 175 yards, something that 49ers haven't seen since the likes of Jerry Rice. It's unfathomable that they would lose this football game. But that's how bad the defense was, and that's how bad the special teams was, not just down the stretch, throughout almost all this game. I mean, they gave up the fake punt conversion on special teams and then a big punt return for the Rams to put them in winning range here at SoFi. So the 49ers right now, they're in danger of being a bad team. I think every NFL team is a couple bad things away from being a bad team. That's how much parity there is in this league. You constantly have to be on alert. You constantly have to deliver balance with your performances. And the 49ers have a great quarterback. They have the pieces on this team to go a long way. But even if you have a great quarterback, and even if you're going to be returning Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and George Kittle to augment an offense that played good football today for the most part, even if you have that, you still have to show balance. You still have to go out there and play decent defense, at least decent defense. You still have to go out there and not screw things up on special teams. But guess what the 49ers did today? They screwed things up on special teams, and they played bad defense. So they've got to circle the wagons. They've got a New England team coming into Levi Stadium next week that isn't good. We've seen that. It's a rather anemic New England offense. So this 49ers defense, we were talking about them trying to get back in the top 5 this year. They're worlds away from that. They've got to start taking baby steps, and maybe the Patriots offer an opportunity for the 49ers to do that next week. Now, in the locker room, learned that Javon Hargrave dealing with a triceps injury, but Kyle Shanahan is confident, or at least he suspects that it's only a contusion, not a tear. That would be important for the 49ers. We'll see what the injury report says a little bit later this week. Last week, they said no injuries after the game, and ended up being a situation where there actually was injury damage. Deebo Samuel and George Kittle, neither of those two guys was available to play this week against the Rams. But still, based on the performance the 49ers got from Brock Purdy, based on the performance they got from Jennings, this game, they should have snuffed out all hope. That was the message in the locker room. Kyle Shanahan yesterday, team meeting, told the 49ers, make sure that you eliminate their hope. If the Rams have hope, then maybe they can win because they're so overwhelmed. The 49ers had such advantages up front because the Rams were beaten up. They had advantages against the Rams in the coverage because no Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua. It was critical that the 49ers not let the Rams get hope. But the first thing that they did, and that's, what was it, the second quarter, is they gave the Rams hope. The special teams came in to devastate the 49ers in this game. And the Rams took a little flicker of hope and they turned it into a bigger flame, and then ultimately a really big fire of hope in this game. And the 49ers were not able to put out the fire. We need to look at this in the big picture. Balance wins championships. The 49ers need balance. They've got the quarterback. That's the hardest piece to find. You can never say that Brock Purdy is incapable without his weapons again, because he's been really good over the course of the past 2 weeks without a full arsenal. But he needs a defense that's not giving up over 50% on third downs, that could actually slow down the run. The 49ers weren't doing a good enough job in that regard again, and they were number 26 against the run last year. And if he doesn't have that type of defense, then they just need to be mediocre, number 16. But then the special teams has to be at least solid. You can't have a bad defense and a bad special teams and expect to win football games, and it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. If Patrick Mahomes had a bad defense and a bad special teams, he'd lose football games. If Joe Montana had a bad defense and a bad special teams, he'd lose football games. So it's a team sport, and the 49ers currently aren't delivering on all cylinders of this team sport. It's as simple as that. I don't think that, the adjustment game did not go well today for the 49ers and Nick Sorensen. They're snuffing out the Rams early, stopping the run, getting to Matt Stafford. Coverage was fine. Down the stretch, that wasn't the case anymore. not good on the adjustment front. Now, he might be playing with maybe a little bit of a hand tied behind his back, or coaching with a hand tied behind his back if Charvarius Ward isn't fully healthy. That's something that we're going to have to investigate this week. But Mooney has not looked like his all-pro self so far through 3 games. So they're running some other defensive backs in there. We saw some Malik Mustafa. We saw some Renato Green. Rams scored on a play where there was no Hufanga and there was no Charvarius Ward today. That was closer to the goal line. One of Kyron Williams' 3 touchdowns in this football game. So there is young depth that the 49ers are trying to work in. D. Winters is another good example. Linebacker in place of Devondre Campbell, but then D. Winters hurt his ankle. So, I mean, they're not a finished product yet defensively, but they've got to be better than what we saw on this field here at SoFi Stadium today. They have to be better than that. This was not a good Rams offense. They scored 10 against the Cardinals. They've got rookies starting up front. The offensive line was atrocious entering this game, and they allowed the Rams to close this game on their terms. And it's about complementary football. It's about delivering in every phase of the game. Good news for the 49ers is that this is a long season, but you can't say, oh, this is a long season, we'll get it together by week 6. Because you might be on the road in the playoffs when you shouldn't have been on the road in the playoffs had you approached week 3 better, if you had closed week 3 better. So all of these games do matter. Of course, they get bigger as time goes along. So yes, it is still early. And yes, there have been 49ers Super Bowl championship teams that have lost some ugly games. I mean, you think about the 88 49ers, those guys were 6-5. That was the Steve Young Vikings run here. They blew a lead to the Phoenix Cardinals, not the Arizona Cardinals, they called the Phoenix Cardinals then. 23-0 was the score. 49ers led, and then they lost 24-23 to the Cardinals in that game. Bill Walsh, I think, broke a rib in that game on a punt return. Somebody ran into him. So that was injury on top of insult. The point is that, these are long seasons. You could look really bad and disjointed, but if you have the talent and the coaching to put it all together, you can still do that. So it just felt so much like 2018 to me for the 49ers today. I just think they have a better chance to put things together since they do have Brock Purdy on their football team. They have the quarterback position taken care of. That's a big deal for San Francisco. Now you have to take care of everything else. Locker room videos are going to go up. We talked to Deommodore Lenoir in the locker room. I spoke a little bit with Isaac Guerrero, then Purdy and Fred Warner on the podium. I didn't get to see Nick Bosa on the podium. I'll go watch that right now. So be sure to check out the locker room coverage, which will be up shortly. But this is the 49ers post-locker room report here from SoFi Stadium. Brutal 27-24 loss, but the show goes on. They're 1-2 now, last place in the NFC West, entering next week back at home, Levi's Stadium, against the New England Patriots.